Hey y'all, what's going on? It's your boy Mike. Again, just leaving work. Decided to post a little video for you guys, give you some basic information. This is again another workout tips for beginners. This is about arm day. What should you focus on? Different exercise tips and tricks to kind of pay attention to. So keep it basic. You have your biceps and your tricep. Bicep, front of the arm, tricep, back of the arm. Your bicep has 2 heads, your long and your short head. Your tricep has 3 heads. So, if you want to figure out, hey, how am I going to get the most bang for my buck? How am I going to increase the arm size the easiest? You want to focus, obviously, on both the biceps and the triceps. But if you're looking for more mass, your triceps will hold more mass. Again, because there's more heads of your tricep than your biceps. Very, very basic. Now, you can bias certain heads of the different muscle depending on how you move your arm, depending on what you're doing. That's a little bit advanced, but you can bias the short head of the bicep versus the long head of the biceps versus the lateral head of the tricep, all those different things. Your long head of the triceps, you can, not your lateral, your long head of the triceps versus your medial head of the tricep, things like that. You can bias certain heads of the tricep, certain heads of the bicep, depending on how you move your arm, will determine on how the bicep works or how the tricep works, if you will. Because again, they're where they start, where they end. Sometimes, like some of the heads, start close to the shoulder blade, or the front part of the shoulder. So again, anatomy lesson for another day. But you can bias certain heads of the bicep and certain heads of the tricep depending on how you move your arm. Okay. And if you're trying to get the most bang out of your buck, if you're like, hey, I don't have a lot of time, I'm a busy person, you want to focus on your compound exercises. Again, for your bicep, your compound exercises will be things like your pull-ups or your chin-ups. Because again, even though people are like, that's a back exercise, but your biceps have to move also. So your pull-ups, your chin-ups, your lat pull-downs, they do hit your biceps. Again, you do want to kind of focus more on the retraction if you're trying to pay attention specifically to your back, but they do hit your biceps. In regards to your triceps, for the most bang for your buck, you want to hit your bench presses, particularly your more close grip bench presses, whether it's incline, whether it's a flat bench, whether you're doing push-ups, something like that as a compound motion. You do want to focus that on your triceps. Again, I personally used to do close grip incline bench press because that's what I preferred over a flat. Again, that was just me. Try them all out. Try incline close grip. Try flat close grip. Try close grip. Keep your hands in close for your push-ups. There's also dip variations that really hammer your triceps. Dips are very, very good. Depending on how you position your upper body, it can be more chest focused or it can be more tricep focused. So pay attention and play around with the different angles for your dips to figure out what is the best for your triceps. If you're not able to go to use like a captain's chair or something of that nature that you actually elevated, you can easily do dips on a chair, on a bench, things like that, which will bias the triceps a little bit more so than the chest. So all those options are good options. Just depends on what you have available for you. Depends on what you want to try. But you know me, I'm gonna say try everything because you may not know what you like. You may like incline close grip today, and 3, 4, 5 months you may like close grip flat bench. 3, 4, 5 months later you may prefer a dip machine. Play around with all of them. Again, variety is the spice of life. And again, if your benches are free, are you just going to skip your triceps? No, you try something different. If your pull-up is taken or your lat pull-down is taken, are you just going to skip your compound exercise for your biceps? No, you're going to try something else. Or you go to an isolation exercise. And isolation exercises are amazing. That's how most people start working their biceps or their triceps. When you think of your biceps, everyone does the standard bicep curl. If you want to do a barbell, an easy bar, a dumbbell, pick your poison, whichever one you prefer. I've done barbells. That's not my thing personally, but that doesn't mean that barbells are bad. They're just not the best for me. Again, try barbells. If you like barbells, try barbells. Just don't curl in the squat rack. That's a no-no. But try barbells. Try the easy curl bars. Try your machine dumbbell, your machine bicep curls. Try the regular dumbbell curls. Now, can you isolate particular parts of your bicep? Yes. Can you make your bicep look exactly like someone else's? No. And that is because of different origins, like your genetics and where exactly does it insert. Some people have higher bicep peaks than other people. Whenever you see someone on stage, they have like the top tier genetics. So if your genetics aren't top tier, you won't be able to build the bicep peak of a professional bodybuilder. You can do the best that you can. So don't get me wrong, you can do the best that you can. You can really hammer things and get your biceps look the best that it can for your genetics and your body type. However, you may not look like the top tier bodybuilder because your genetics are different. Some people have different like the tendon length can actually determine how, like, your bicep peak, your things like that. Your tendon length can determine on how big your calves are. All things like that. So just because your biceps don't look exactly like somebody else's does not mean you cannot build a great physique. Again, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Work your hardest and maximize your body's potential. And again, if you're not able to meet my body's potential, or if you're not able to meet the Mr. Olympia's or your favorite Instagram personality's potential, that's okay. As long as you're hitting it the hardest that you can for your body type, that's what matters the most. So we talked about compound lifts, isolation exercises for your biceps. You can't go wrong with a regular curl. Whether it's a barbell curl, it's a dumbbell curl, you can't go wrong. As you're getting more advanced, because your bicep actually does do a little bit of internal rotation with your hand, so you can kind of like turn your pinky from here to here a little bit. You actually, if you just do that, you'll feel your bicep just twitch a little bit. Is that necessary for the beginner? No. For intermediate? Not really. For the advanced, if you want it to, it can. You can get a little bit more of your bicep work. However, that little bit, particularly for the beginner, is not going to make or break your exercise, to be honest. If you're top tier sipping on stage, it may help, may not help. You don't even have to worry about it. But your bicep can help with that internal rotation a little bit. Your bicep also does a little bit of shoulder flexion, to be honest, because actually where it connects, one of your bicep heads actually connects all the way up to your shoulder. So it can help with a little bit of shoulder flexion. So if you want to isolate and bias particular muscles, if you actually sit on a bench and have your arm back a little bit and you do a curl, you'll notice that the curl is a little bit tougher, but it's also you're kind of eliminating some of the shoulder flexion a little bit. That's one way to isolate your bicep curl. Now, your hammer curls. You'll see a lot of people doing crossbody hammer curls. Sometimes they'll do a regular hammer curl. And again, a hammer curl is whenever your fist is pointing this way, you're curling this way. That's a hammer curl. What that does, that focuses on the biceps and also the brachioradialis, which is when you look at someone's forearm, it's that big muscle that's on the top of their forearm. So if you ever hear someone saying the brachioradialis, that is what they're talking about. You can't, so whenever you're doing a crossbody, it doesn't make that much of a difference compared to a regular. Sometimes it's more show. Sometimes it's like, hey, I want to look at my muscles. And that is okay. If you want to do a crossbody, do a crossbody. If you want to do just a regular hammer curl, do a regular hammer curl. Do both. I personally do both because sometimes I just want to see what my arms are looking like, to be honest. Because again, you're in the gym, you get a nice glow, everything's looking perfect. So, if you want to do a crossbody, do a crossbody. If you want to do a regular hammer curl, do a regular hammer curl. If you want to, there's another curl that your palm is actually facing down. You curl that way. That exercise it does bias one of the biceps and muscles. I'm trying to remember which one it is. It's at the top of my head. Man, forgive me 1 second. The biceps, no, not biceps, brachii. That's right. The brachialis. Bicep, it biases the brachialis. Is that going to make or break? No, it's not going to make or break anything. Will it give you a little extra? Yes. If you're short on time, do you need to hit it? Not necessarily. Now, you hear a lot of people think that you can't really bias a muscle group. Depends on where they're coming from. I understand where they're coming from, but you can bias depending on what you're doing. Because again, my mindset is more physical therapy in conjunction with sports and exercise science. And whenever you're trying to bias a muscle group, you kind of try to eliminate as many variables as you can so you can focus on the exact muscle that you're doing. So again, if you're doing a bicep curl, you're just trying to focus on either the long head or the short head of the biceps. No, you curl a particular way. Whether your hands right next to you, whether you're kind of behind you, you can kind of bias a different way. If you're kind of focusing on the brachioradialis, you want to have your hand turn a particular way. If you want to try to focus on the brachialis, you turn your hand a particular way, because your biceps do some internal rotation. So if you kind of turn it off a little bit, you can kind of focus on one of the other muscle groups. Do all the biceps flex the elbow? Yes. The biceps brachii, the brachioradialis, the brachialis, they all flex the elbow. So if you're just gonna bend your elbow, all those muscles do that. So if you just want to do regular bicep curls, just do regular bicep curls. You don't have to do all this extra stuff if you don't want to. Is it gonna help? Yeah, it can help. But is it mandatory? No, it's not mandatory. If you just want to do regular bicep curls, just do regular bicep curls. That's perfectly fine. In regards to your triceps, again, depending on how you position your arm, you can actually bias certain muscles of the triceps. Because again, where the triceps actually attach. So if you want to try to bias like long head, the short, like the long head of the triceps, the medial head, lateral head of the triceps, you can kind of bias different heads depending on how you turn your hand. Is it gonna make or break? No. If you just want to do tricep pushdowns, just do tricep pushdowns. If you want to just do bench press, like close grip bench press for your triceps, just do close grip bench press. They're all of your triceps do elbow extension. Again, are you going to get the most bang for your buck as a beginner? You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Just keeping it basic, just keeping it simple. As you're advancing, as you're learning more about your body, what your body likes, what your body doesn't like, you can try out different exercises and say, okay, my body likes this, my body doesn't like this. I want to try this, I don't want to try this. For instance, the overhead dumbbell tricep extension. My elbows don't like the exercise at all. It's like my elbows just don't like it, so I don't do it often. It's like if I have to do it, if there's nothing else that's available, then I will do it, but I don't go heavy because my elbows don't like it. When I switch over, I've done close grip bench press, I've done the dip machine, I've done tricep kickbacks, and tricep kickbacks are a highly underrated exercise. A lot of people think of them as a girl exercise or an old person exercise. An exercise is an exercise. Everyone has the same muscle groups, with few exceptions, but everyone has the same muscles. Everyone's triceps kick back. If you want to do tricep kickbacks, do tricep kickbacks. Really focus on the squeeze, and you will feel it. As long as you're positioning your body right. Because a lot of people they'll kind of go into more of a row compared to just kicking back their tricep. Do that. If you want to do like a rope pushdown, do a rope pushdown. There's a while I only did rope pushdowns. I turn my hands different ways. I would do like my hand down, my hand up a little bit. I've done overhead. Again, when you bring your arm overhead, you're kind of focusing more on the long head. Again, because of where it inserts. Because again, kind of inserts like up top, like behind your shoulder up top here. So if you're kind of bring your arms up, it kind of puts it on an extra stretch, if you will. So you can bias it a little bit. For the beginner, is it going to make or break your exercise if you do something that's going to bias one head over the other? It's not going to make or break. It only really matters is if you're going to try to step on stage, or if you're trying to focus on a particular muscle group for a very particular reason. Like if you feel like, hey, this muscle group's this muscle's a little weak compared to this muscle, then it'll matter. But again, to be honest, the only time that actually matters is if you're going to step on stage, if you just really, really enjoy it, or if you're trying to recover from an injury. Besides that, if you don't want to focus on the long head versus the short head of the bicep, you just want to get a good arm exercise in, Just do some compound exercises, your bench presses, your dips, your close grip lat pull downs, your pull ups, things like that. And then if you want to do like 1 or 2 isolation exercises, do 1 or 2 isolation exercises. We make exercise a lot harder than it has to be. It can be hard, but it can be very simple at the same time. So, particularly for my new people, keep it simple, have fun, play around, and if you're short on time, do a compound exercise first, and then do your isolation exercises. That way you gain the most bang out of your buck. And again, with the compound exercise, you're using more muscle groups, so you can actually lift heavier weights. So why would you want to burn yourself out on light weights and then try to go to a heavy weight? You know what I mean? So do your compound exercises first, and then do your isolation exercises. That way, you can make sure you covered all your bases. If you're short on time, we got stuff to do. That's what my personal suggestion would be. And again, write these things down. Write down your exercises so you know, hey, my typical arm day, I usually do this exercise, this exercise, this exercise, and this usually takes me a total of 40 minutes, including a 10-minute warm-up. So, okay, perfect. So if you got more than 40 minutes, perfect. Do your regular workout. If you don't got all this time in the world, what can I reduce? Don't reduce your cardio. Don't reduce your warm-up. Keep your warm-up. So you gotta work your most important muscle, your heart. So keep your warm-up. If you need to skip out on one of the bicep exercises, skip out one of the bicep exercises, or reduce the amount of reps or the sets, or reduce the amount of a rest time between your exercises. So that's why tracking is so important. So you know what you can alter, what you need to alter, what you don't need to alter, so you can make the proper progress for you, your lifestyle, for your family, things of that nature. Because again, the gym is not your whole life. It should be a part of your life. So you should find a way to interject the gym as you can, but not making it your whole life. You don't want the gym to be your whole identity. Because there's more to people than just big biceps. Even though big biceps are awesome, I like big biceps. They're pretty dope. But there's more to a person than just having big biceps. So make the gym a part of you. Don't make it your whole identity. So again, just want to come here, chop it up. I know, I took a couple of days off. Life been lifing a little bit, but I'll be back. I got a big project coming up pretty soon, so I'll be working on that. I'll take you guys along the ride with me, and yeah, we'll see what's going on. But until then, later.